clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, just relax those eyelids and make sure your eyes are completely closed. As you breathe in, just imagine breathing in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you breathe out, just imagine that that breath is taking with it any stress or anxiety or tension. Breathing in that feeling of relaxation and releasing more and more tension with each and every breath. That's right. I want you to use your imagination to imagine that you're in a grand library, an ancient library. Just imagine a library within Hogwarts, a grand building, and inside that building, an impressive library with the oldest books. I want you to imagine that you're walking around that library. And an old library with old books has a very distinctive smell. I want you to focus on that smell as you look around at these shelves upon shelves with all different books. I want you to admire the artwork on the walls. Perhaps there's impressive scenery through the windows. Maybe there's even intricate details in the ceiling. And as you walk around this library, I want you to imagine that there is a very, very comfortable chair. Maybe it's a recline chair, a soft chair. And I want you to imagine that you're sitting on that chair, getting really comfortable on that chair, relaxing deeply into that chair. And as you do so, again, just imagine that you're breathing in a feeling of relaxation and releasing any tension. I want you to pay attention to any and all tension around your eyelids. As you breathe in that relaxation, just imagine that any tension around your eyes is just melting away. Now, that's it. As you breathe in that relaxation, now focus on any tension in and around your forehead or your jaw. Scan your face for any feelings, echoes of any tension. Become aware of any, or even the idea of any. And as you breathe out, just imagine you're releasing that tension, letting go of that tension, and releasing it now. That's it. Deeper and deeper relax, paying attention to any relaxation, and increasing levels of relaxation in your whole body. But any tension around your neck and your shoulders, imagine it melting away like ice cubes in the sunshine, taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. Breathing in that feeling of relaxation and releasing any and all tension. Now, that's it. Going deeper and deeper relaxed. I want you to imagine that you're so relaxed in this chair, in this grand library, that you're about to imagine falling asleep in that chair. I'm going to count down from 5 to 1, and you're going to imagine what it would feel like to fall asleep in that chair. Such a deep sleep that you can dream vividly while you're asleep on that chair. Starting to count 5, just feeling your eyelids get heavier and heavier, and 4, feeling a desire to yawn, and 3, just going deeper and deeper relaxed, feeling all loose and limp and completely relaxed, and 2, feeling like you're about to nod off, and 1, drifting asleep now. drifting asleep. So much so that you can imagine being asleep, vividly dreaming while you're asleep that you're in the same library. I want you to imagine how strange it would be to imagine that you're in the library seeing a version of you fast asleep on that very chair that you were just a few seconds ago. Now you know that it's just your dream. Your dream is wandering around the aisles, the levels of this library. And I want you to find a section in the library with the very oldest of books. I want you to find a particular book that represents a symbol with perhaps something that reminds you of Norse mythology or Vikings. Maybe it's a leather-bound book with a distinctive smell, and I want you to pick up that book and get a feeling that this is a book of one of your lives from a long time ago. Not a few years ago, but generations and generations and generations ago, a long time ago. And just get a feeling that this book represents a story of your life back then. I want you to find a table in that library and just start flicking through the pages of that book. Early on in that book, and the book tells a story of a Viking town a long time ago. And while you're flicking through the pages of that Viking book, telling a story of a Viking town a long time ago, it describes a town with an unusual name. It's a town called Berk. The book describes it as being 12 days north of hopeless and a few degrees south of freezing to death. It's located solidly on the meridian of misery. This is your village. In a word, it's sturdy. It's been here for 7 generations, but interestingly, every single building in this town is new. They've got hunting, fishing, a charming view of the sunsets. The only problem in this town are the pests. Most places have mice or mosquitoes, but this particular town has something different. And as you read the pages, what can naturally happen when you're reading a book is you start becoming a character in the story. I don't want that to happen now, as you imagine that you're in the town of Berk, surrounded by these wooden new buildings. Except there's something strange and unusual about this particular town, because most memories feel like what you're looking at is real, whereas the memories here, the colors seem brighter, almost like you're living inside a cartoon. That's right. As you look around, you get a real feeling that you belong in this town, that this isn't a memory or a story, this is your life, and you're living in this town. As you look around, you can see people with different professions. Perhaps a fisherman, perhaps a blacksmith, hammering metal hooves, perhaps creating swords or axes. I want you to see that there are villagers. You get a sense of real community in this town. And you get a feeling that this is a town isolated, perhaps on an island or near the sea. Notice that because this is so long ago, the air is incredibly fresh. There are interesting smells of fish, and you notice there are lots of sheep around in this particular town. But the energy changes. The energy changes as suddenly this place of calm turns into almost panic, fear. the pests that exist in this particular town are not mosquitoes or mice, but dragons. I want you to look up in the sky and see all different types of dragons. Some are big, some are colourful, some are smaller, some are slow and some are fast. And I want you to see them swoop down and grab things like sheep, almost like they're stealing all of what is most valuable from the town. There is a feeling that something must be done to keep these dragons away. But as you look at these dragons, I want a thought to suddenly appear in your mind. That what if these dragons were simply representations of all of your life's challenges, your fears, your problems and issues? All these dragons weren't real dragons. These monsters weren't real monsters. But representations, manifestations of things in your life that are undesirable, not useful, and depriving you of the very best quality of life that you want. If the idea that these dragons may represent something else other than dragons, something undesirable in your life, just let me know by nodding your head. And a second idea also gets planted in your unconscious mind. That what if the idea, the knowledge about these dragons, what if everything you thought you knew about them was wrong? I want to plant a seed of an idea that there is an open-mindedness that perhaps these dragons aren't the problem or the issue or the nightmare that maybe you and the rest of the villagers thought they were. The dragons go, and I want you to imagine that the whole village agrees that something must be done to defend the town against these dragons. And I want everyone in the village to intuitively know that it is you that is the creative one. You might not be the biggest or the strongest, but certainly you are smart and creative. And I want you to imagine that you're creating something that could potentially capture a dragon, perhaps some kind of catapult or net. But I want you to locate where that creativity exists within you. That you have the ability to identify a problem, but be creative with the solution. That you've got the ability to create solutions. And knowing that any problem, if you're creative enough, can be solved. And that you have the resource of creativity, and that creativity gets even stronger with practice. And I want you to imagine that you're creating something that could capture one of these dragons. You build this thing, you can imagine building it, keeping it safe. And it might be a few days or a few weeks, but before you know it, that panic returns to the village. And there it is. The dragons return, but this time, there is no fear, only courage. A desire to put this creative contraption to use, to capture one of these dragons. And that is exactly what you do. You aim it up into the sky, launch your catapult, and get a feeling that you've caught one of these dragons. You can't tell for sure which one you've caught, but you get a feeling that something has been captured in your net. And one of the first things necessary to solve a problem is to identify a problem. The first step of eliminating a fear is defining that fear. Knowledge and clarity is power. maybe it's the next day, and you try and figure out where that captured dragon may have been located. No one believes that you could have captured a dragon. So you just trust your own intuition, your own instincts, to explore where this dragon may be. And there it is, you find it. Something small, something dark, something wriggling in a net. And there it is, a dragon. But this dragon doesn't look ferocious or scary. It almost looks tame, scared. I want you to feel a connection between you and the dragon. Almost like a bond has always existed, but you can feel that bond the moment you look into the eyes of this dragon. And I want you to place your hand on the location where you feel that connection between you and this dragon. That's right. There it is. And I want you to make that feeling grow so the bond becomes even stronger. That's right. And I want you to take the net off the dragon, realizing that you could have killed this dragon, you could have defeated this fear, solved this problem, but instead you wanted to get to know this fear, get to know this problem. And likewise, when the dragon is no longer in the net, the dragon could easily kill you in a second, but it doesn't. There is a mutual respect, a bond forming. And I want a seed of an idea to be planted deep in your subconscious mind. What if your enemies could be your allies? What if your challenges could be your biggest opportunities? What if your fear could actually be your friend? And I want you to find that courage and character within yourself. Something that was always there, but now is being unlocked. And I want you to think now about your strongest qualities. Perhaps creativity, courage, compassion. Seeking truth and understanding, rather than being ruled by fear and anxiety. I want you to imagine that you keep the relationship with this dragon a secret. Nobody else needs to know that this bond exists. But as you return to the village, you are given the task of working, fighting, training dragons that have been captured by other members of the village. But what if what you've learned about your relationship with this first dragon, this first fear or challenge, helps you perceive these other dragons in a new way? Because if one fear can be understood, if one challenge could be resolved, maybe the insight from that first experience can be applied to all other fears, challenges, problems, and threats. What if you're able to tame your fears? What if you're able to tame your challenges? And as you do so, I want you to imagine that you no longer see these dragons as monsters. You liken them to playful pets like kittens. And as you treat them that way, they start behaving that way. And wouldn't it be interesting if these things that are so serious and so scary in your real life are more like kittens and less like monsters? Wouldn't that change how you respond, how you feel, and in turn make you more resourceful about taking your life in exactly the direction that you would want to take it? I want you to accept this suggestion to be completely true. That all of your challenges, all of your fears, all of your anxieties can all be tamed just like a dragon. a few days pass and you allow this seed of an idea to grow, to take root, to become not just a belief but a conviction, that in the same way you can tame a dragon, you can tame your fears, your anxieties, your challenges. And I want you to imagine that you're about to face the biggest challenge. I want you to imagine that a giant dragon, a huge dragon, exists deep in your subconscious mind. And I want you to imagine your subconscious mind almost like a giant mountain. And this giant dragon is hidden inside this giant mountain. And this mountain exists buried deep in your subconscious mind. What if this giant dragon represented the very biggest issue in your life? The thing that is holding back from experiencing the best quality in your life? Maybe a story that you keep telling yourself that gets in the way of your dreams. Maybe a belief about what is holding you back from living your best life. Imagine that a giant dragon in a giant mountain buried deep in your subconscious mind represents the biggest obstacle in your life. I want you to really think about what that belief or story could be. And maybe you know, or maybe you just trust your intuition to know that something like that exists. That if one giant thing changed, perhaps all these smaller things would just disappear. What if a lot of your small problems, fears, and anxieties are just influenced by this bigger dragon buried deep in your subconscious mind? What if these little issues are just a side effect of this one big dragon? I want you to imagine that somehow, perhaps by flying on the back of a friendly dragon, you're able to meet this one big dragon. Deep in your subconscious mind, deep inside a large hidden mountain buried deep in your subconscious mind, I want you to imagine you're coming face to face with the big dragon that represents the biggest obstacle to living your dream life. And I want you to imagine that your previous fear is now your ally. Your enemy is now your friend. And your friend helps you. What you've learned from dealing with that small challenge or fear is going to help you destroy this big dragon. I want you to imagine that a burst of energy leaves this small dragon and aims directly at this big dragon. And I want you to imagine that the big dragon is destroyed. What would it be like? What would it be like if this belief or story simply didn't exist anymore? And what if you replaced it with the exact opposite belief? That instead of you can't do something, what if you could? What if you're not able? Then you are. If you're not worthy, then suddenly you're deserving. I want you to imagine what it would be like for the exact opposite story or belief to be true. How would that change your life? As the big dragon is destroyed, I want you to appreciate that you lose something in the process. That sometimes a transformation requires a sacrifice. Sometimes when we make the biggest breakthroughs, we can lose a relationship, a friendship, perhaps even a career, or something of importance. I want you to imagine losing something, and it's okay to lose that thing. I want you to accept that sometimes sacrifice is necessary for progression and improvement and evolution. And if you accept that to be true, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. As you really think about what that new belief or story is, imagine living a future with that new idea. That that your weakness has turned to a strength, that the biggest obstacle is now your biggest gift, that there is a sense of purpose and direction, that suddenly everything makes sense. I want you to imagine stepping into that belief, stepping into that story, and living the next few years as if that was true. A useful, empowering belief, something that takes your life forward. Imagine living a future that's desirable, fulfilling, meaningful, and know that it came from destroying a big dragon and replacing it with something useful. And also notice that all those little dragons that seem so important disappear once the big dragon is gone and replaced with something useful and beautiful. As you return back to the town of Berk, I want you to imagine that not just you has changed, but the town has changed. A town that was riddled with anxiety and fear and insecurities is now confident, a buzz of energy and optimism. The buildings look stronger, the people look happier. It feels more like home. I want you to understand that by you making peace with your enemies, by taming your fears and challenges, every element of your life improves. And I want you to enjoy this town of Berk and realize that by the town of Berk being happier and stronger, more secure and more stable, all of the different people in the village can collaborate better, work with each other harmoniously. Everyone has more connection, happiness, and love. And now it's time to realize that this story in a book has come to an end, and there you are at the table in the library. And as you close the book, you can't help but feel that it's not just changed in the book, but it's changed in your head as well, that something deep in your subconscious mind has also changed. That the story in the book is simply a reflection of a change that's happening deep in your subconscious mind. And as you put the book on the shelf, you feel that your future is going to be so much more exciting, compelling, meaningful, and purposeful, with more harmony and less fear and anxiety. And then notice that there you are, still asleep on a comfortable reclined chair there in the library. And I want you to step into that version of you, so now you're also there on that reclining chair, feeling so deeply relaxed. Realizing that this is simply a dream within a dream, and actually, there you are right now, in your own body, right there, being aware of your breathing, being aware of your relaxation, being aware of your environment. And very soon I'm going to count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken fully in the present, with all parts working harmoniously to give you the very best quality of your life. You will awaken with a different relationship with your fears. Whereas before you may have run away from your fears, now you have a desire to tame your fears. Rather than avoid your challenges, you have a desire to tame and meet and work with your challenges, making you, just like the town of Berk, stronger and more safe and secure. And I also want you to awaken with a new story, a new belief that serves you rather than holds you back. You will awaken in the present, fully wide awake, feeling hugely optimistic, looking forward to the future. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.